Okay, so today we're going to deep dive into this story that's like super weird, but also pretty interesting. You ready to go down this rabbit hole?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It all starts on YouTube with this streamer who calls himself the Rogue Calvinist.
Okay.
So he's got like this hardcore fan, the Rogue Sycophant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the sycophant isn't just like leaving nice comments and stuff. No, no.
Uh-oh.
He's appearing online as like this anthropomorphic dog.
Oh.
And not just any dog. He's decked out in full 16th century clothing.
Like a full outfit.
Yeah, dude, like the whole 9 yards roughs, doublet, breeches, the works.
That's wild. Okay, so what happened?
Well, the Rogue Calvinist got all freaked out.
I mean, I could see why.
He was convinced that this sycophant was actually like his arch nemesis. You know, Warren McGrew.
Oh, from that Idol Killer channel?
Yeah, exactly. Like he thought McGrew was trying to mess with him or something.
So he blocked him?
Oh, yeah. Totally blocked the Rogue Sycophant straight out of his comments. And that's where things get really interesting.
All right, I'm hooked. What's the deep dive here?
Well, let's start with that whole dog in a doublet thing. What do you make of that?
Well, on the surface, it's definitely out there, right?
Yeah, pretty out there.
But think about it like this. In the world of online fandoms especially, you gotta do something to stand out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's crowded. There's a million voices all vying for attention.
True.
So maybe this is his way of, like, signaling his devotion to the Rogue Calvinist.
Like a super fan thing?
Yeah, or maybe it's even deeper than that, like some kind of performance art,
Interesting.
It's all about identity online, how we choose to present ourselves.
And how we connect with others.
Exactly. And that brings us to another point. Those parasocial relationships that form in these online spaces.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole other level of fandom.
Right. It's like you feel like you really know these streamers, even though...
You've never met them.
Exactly. It's all through the screen, but, you comment, they respond.
You feel seen.
Totally. And that can lead to some really intense feelings of loyalty or even friendship.
So in the Rogue Sycophant's case, all that over-the-top fawning...
might have come from a place of genuine admiration.
Yeah, I can see that.
But then on the flip side, you have that suspicion the Rogue Calvinist felt.
Thinking it was all a big act.
Right. And you got to admit, anonymity online can create a breeding ground for distrust.
For sure.
Especially when you're dealing with, like, online rivalries and stuff.
And let's be real, those can get pretty nasty.
It can get brutal, and, content creators, they're under a lot of pressure.
To maintain that perfect image.
Exactly. So even if the Rogue Calvinist was wrong about the whole McGrew thing, you can understand why he might feel the need to, like, control the narrative.
And protect his community.
Yep. It's all about self-preservation in a way.
But is blocking really the right answer, though?
That's where things get tricky, right?
Yeah, it feels extreme.
On the one hand, it can be a necessary tool to protect yourself from harassment. Or just, like, unwanted attention. But on the other hand...
it can feel like censorship.
Right, like you're silencing dissent or trying to manipulate the conversation.
And in this case, you have to wonder, did the Rogue Calvinist overreact?
Or was he justified in trying to shield his community from a potential troublemaker?
It's a tough call, honestly.
It really is. And this whole situation just goes to show you how blurry those lines have become.
Between the online world and real life.
Totally. What we do and say online has real impact.
Real consequences.
The emotions are real. The relationships are real.
Even if the identities are sometimes questionable.
That's a good point. This whole story, it's like a microcosm of these bigger issues we're all facing.
Like, how do we build trust in online communities?
And how do we navigate these complex relationships that form in digital spaces?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I keep thinking about the Rogue Sycophant. Whether he was actually McGrew or not.
Yeah.
His devotion was met with suspicion and rejection.
That's gotta sting.
It makes you wonder, like, what drives someone to express their fandom in such an over-the-top way?
And then also, how do we avoid these kinds of misunderstandings?
How do we create spaces where genuine enthusiasm isn't mistaken for something malicious?
Big questions, right?
Big questions, for sure.
I mean, the Rogue Sycophant story, it really makes you think.
Yeah, and that's what these deep dives are all about.
Getting people to think critically about the online world.
Exactly. So what do you think is really going on here?
Honestly, I don't know, but I'm sure our listeners have some thoughts.
Let us know your theories. Hit us up in the comments.
We'd love to hear them.
Until next time, keep it curious.
And stay skeptical.
Fair.
Later.
Okay, so today